Welcome back everyone to a brand new edition of new OP builds, this time for patch 13.12. In today's video, we will be covering 10 builds that have just recently started popping up that are extremely strong for solo queue. And just before we get into the builds, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then go to SkillCapped.com. Stop wasting your time grinding thousands of games only to see no progress. With SkillCapped, you'll uncover the secrets to climbing ranks fast that only take a few minutes to learn and can be immediately applied in your next game. The best part is it's completely risk-free to try, as you're kept safe with our rank up insurance. If you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCapped, then you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Get the rank you've always wanted by clicking the link in the description below. Alright, let's start off the video by covering 2 new top lane builds. The first build is an extra spicy one, as there are so many unique elements to it. The champion is Varus top lane, and the setup consists of running Flash and Barrier as your summoner spells. Being a squishy ADC, the threat of being dove, especially at level 6, is higher than most traditional top lane champions, so by running Barrier, you drastically reduce the enemy's kill power. Varus top lane plays extremely well into the tankier champs like K'Sante, Sion, and Ornn, while he can hold his ground into many low mobility fighters as well. You're going to be building AP on your Varus top lane, which absolutely shreds these tankier champions. This is the whole idea behind the pick. Play him into these tankier comps and melt them with your percent health damage. The standard 2-item core consists of Nashor's Tooth and Riftmaker. Third item is really situational, but Rabadon's is generally a solid choice. Ability max is completely different than that of bot lane Varus, as you're maxing W out first. W first into Q second, and E last is how you should be prioritizing your skill order. Max health damage goes up the more points you put into W, so it allows you to nuke those tanks even harder. The rune page is press the attack with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, grab Bone Plating and Overgrowth for secondaries. The 13.12 changes to Rumble make him a much better duelist against bruiser or tank champions, and going for a more AP bruiser style of build will become more valuable. For ages now, Rumble players would always rush Rocket Belt or Night Harvester, but going Riftmaker for your mythic item is going to be way stronger now. The new max health damage coming out of Rumble Q combined with the true damage from Riftmaker will allow Rumble to shred through tanks so much easier. The second item in this build is going to complement things really nicely, as you will look to build Demonic Embrace. Demonic Embrace passive deals max health damage, so everything ties together super well here. As for the rune page, since Rumble's extended fight power is becoming much stronger, running Conqueror will be great. Rel is actually viable in the jungle right now, but the majority of players are building her wrong. Aftershock is the most common keystone pickup on Rel, but Phase Rush is heavily outperforming it. Phase Rush works insanely well with Rel jungle due to the fact that she loses movement speed when dismounted. When you go in for a gank and use W, you'll then become dismounted, so by proccing Phase Rush, you're able to stick onto the enemy way better and eliminate that weakness of having lower movement speed while unmounted. Rel's dismounted form is actually way more powerful than before due to her mini rework, so sticking on the enemy with Phase Rush really helps her take advantage of that. The complete rune page is Phase Rush with Nimbus Cloak, Transcendence, and Water Walking, while Hex Flash and Cosmic Insight are the best secondaries. Although support Rel likes to max W out first, jungle Rel does much better with the Q max. Base magic damage on Q goes all the way from 60 to 200 when you max it out, so it helps a lot with her ability to skirmish. Q first into W second and E last is the best order for Rel jungle. As for the build, Even Shroud and Sunfire Aegis are going to be your 2 core items for each game. Abyssal Mask and Thornmail are both great third options depending on the enemy composition. A bit of a sleeper setup going around on Ivern right now revolves around running Glacial Augment for the Keystone rune. With Ivern's mini rework in 13.11, Daisy has become much stronger, and by running Glacial, you're able to get way more out of Daisy due to the incredible sticking power of Glacial. The more you're able to slow the enemy, the more reliable auto attacks Daisy will be able to get off, which will lead to more knockups and an incredible amount of disruption in fights. Glacial will also make finding catch plays with Q and early ganks much easier to pull off. The 15% damage reduction that Glacial applies also makes it much more difficult for the enemy to fight back when you are going for early ganks. For the complete rune page, it's Glacial with Perfect Timing, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight, followed by Transcendence and Water Walking for secondaries. The build is Echoes of Helia or Shirelius Rush into Ardent Sensor second and Redemption third. There's a new Akali build popping up that gets even better for patch 13.12, which consists of rushing Static Shiv. Now, you might be wondering, well, how is this even viable on Akali? Is she not an AP champion? Yes, however, her abilities scale off both magic and physical damage. Passive has a 60% bonus AD ratio, Q has a 65% total AD ratio, while E is 60% and R is 50% bonus AD. This allows Akali to rush Static Shiv, benefit from the AD that the item provides, while also taking advantage of the burst and wave clear power that the energized proc offers. Mid priority is so vital in solo queue, and by rushing Static Shiv, you'll be shoving waves out extremely quick to keep up tempo and accelerate leads. The one-shot power of this build becomes even better at 2 items as you pick up a Rocket Belt. Akali's full combo combined with the active from Rocket Belt and the energized damage from from Static Shiv will have you deleting squishies. For the rune page, it's Electrocute with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Ultimate Hunter. Optimal secondaries are Second Wind and Overgrowth. Another mid lane champion that can really excel by rushing the buffed Static Shiv is Tristana. Trist already has pretty good wave clear with her E passive, but when you tack on the energized proc from Static Shiv, you are going to be one hitting waves. A Tristana with Perma Rush is so lethal as her skirmish power post level 6 is extremely strong. To amplify the burst power of this build even further, you can look to pick up a Gale Force second. This 2-item core really allows you to play Tristana mid extremely aggressively, diving in to pick off squishies and then using the reset from W to retreat out of harm's way. It's almost like you're a ranged assassin. Since you're playing for the upfront damage with this build, take Hail of Blades for the keystone instead of lethal tempo. Hail is going to synergize really well, allowing you to burst out targets extremely fast. Last patch, we covered the rise of Trinity Force on Draven, and another ADC who you should be looking to run it on is Ashe. Ashe is performing quite poorly with the on-hit builds, while a Trinity Force rush is doing extremely well. Trinity has really good synergy with Ashe since her W is on a very short cooldown and will allow you to proc Spellblade very consistently. The ability haste from Trinity Force is also a really nice stat for Ashe since it provides her ultimate with a shorter cooldown for more pick opportunities. Second item in the build path really depends on the game. Hurricane is a great option when the enemy team has majority melee champs where you'll benefit from its passive the most. Against heavier ranged comps or into more assassins, going for Kraken Slayer is going to be better value. The Phantom Dancer buff this patch will make the item a solid third option for most games. As for the rune page, it's Lethal Tempo with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Roll with Biscuits and Approach Velocity for secondaries. There is a new Kai'Sa build that has started gaining traction over the past patch, and it consists of rushing Static Shiv. Stormrazor was the optimal rush option, but since it was nerfed in 13.11, it's fallen off quite a bit. Shiv is even being buffed here in 13.12, so the fact the item was already performing better in 13.11 will make it the best rush item by a long shot now. Kai'Sa Q with Static Shiv proc feels really nice and allows you to one-shot waves with ease. The rest of the build is actually quite unique as well, with Nashor's Tooth being the second purchase. Lots of hybrid damage coming out of this core, and the ability power from Nashor's applies the energized attack from Shiv. There's really no better mythic item than Rage Blade for Kai'Sa, so that is what you will round out your 3-item core with. For the rune page, you're going to run Lethal Tempo with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Free Boots and Biscuits are for secondaries. A Senna build that a lot of players are sleeping on right now consists of running Ghost Blade as her mythic item. Ghost Blade is currently winning about 3% more than its rival Eclipse. Senna, being a champion who lacks a gap closer, really benefits from the added movement speed that Ghost Blade provides. The extra move speed is often going to be more useful to survive than the shield from Eclipse when trying to fend off divers. Second item in the build path is also quite unique, as you're going to amplify kiting power even further by going Stormrazor. The move speed proc from the energized attack of Stormrazor combined with the active from Ghost Blade will have you staying super mobile in fights and much more difficult to catch out. This is definitely more of a pure carry-oriented Senna build and will be especially good in games where the rest of your team is quite tanky and lacks DPS. Rune page to run with this build is Fleet Footwork, followed by Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cutdown. Biscuits and Approach Velocity are for secondaries. One item that is being heavily slept on for support champions, and most notably on Bard, is Abyssal Mask. The Abyssal changes have really flew under the radar as the item has had its cost reduced down to only 2,400 gold. This makes it much more accessible on support champions and a phenomenal pickup if the enemy comp is heavy magic damage. Bard has always liked going the Dead Man's Plate build when playing into physical damage comps, but never really had a great option to answer against magic damage. Abyssal being a great pickup now gives Bard the ability to thrive more into most magic damage comps. Now, you're not going to be rushing the Abyssal Mask though. Echoes of Helia works great on Bard as the rush, while Abyssal is slotted in second. For the rune page, look to run Guardian with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching. The optimal secondaries are Zombie Ward and Relentless Hunter. So that wraps everything up for this one, but if you want to improve fasting at the rank you've always wanted, then go to SkillCapped.com. With premium courses for every role and skill taught by the best players, SkillCapped is the perfect platform to help take your game to the next level. Take our wave control course. While you wait for your next game to start, you can learn freezing, fast pushing, slow pushing, bouncing waves, the list goes on, all in just a few minutes to maximize your improvement rate. Or maybe you just like seeing your opponent's health go to 0. Then you'll love our trading course. We even have a skill test at the end so you can see how good you really are. Players just like you are leaving 5-star reviews and raving at how helpful they are. That's not all we offer though, as every week we release 10 brand new Smurf commentaries where a challenger player teaches you how to climb out of the exact rank you're stuck in. If you're looking for something more personal instead, then we got you covered with one-on-one coaching from our trained challenger experts. All this seems too good to be true? Well, don't worry, we're backed by a rank up guarantee. If you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCapped, then you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and get the rank you've always wanted. Thanks for watching everyone, and good luck with all those new builds in solo queue.